Perfect. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Josh Vogt, publisher of Personal Fitness Professional. And in just a few moments, our presenter today, Dolly Stokes, owner of Stokes Method and Director of Research and Development for Fit Tour, will bring you today's webinar titled Health Span versus Lifespan, Helping Your Clients Live Their Best Life. Before we begin, I'd like to just cover a few housekeeping items. Like always, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with everyone tomorrow morning. So look for that coming from either Zoom or PFP, actually. We'd like to also encourage any questions you might have about the presentation, and feel free to ask those during the webinar in the chat, or you can also put those in the Q&A and we'll get to them either right away or at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar was made possible by our longtime partner, Fit Tour. Fit Tour is a great resource to get the latest certifications and stay on top of your CECs via their online courses. All right, Dolly, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Thanks, Josh. It's great to be here today with y'all. And thanks to everybody for logging in and taking time out of your busy schedule to attend the webinar. We're going to talk about, you know, how we can increase and some strategies that we can take with our training to not just increase the lifespan of our clients, because when we think about lifespan, that's how many years we're going to live. But our health span is how many years we're going to live with high quality of life. The first thing I'd like to talk about is, the fact that health span is going to reframe wellness as more than fitness or nutrition. So just a quick personal story for you. I was diagnosed with MS 14 years ago when I was 47 years old. And I thought I was pretty healthy, but I, kind of lived the bodybuilder life and did everything possible that I could to be lean and have a six pack. And sometimes that involved engaging in, lifestyle activities that might not have been as healthy as I could have been. So once I was diagnosed with MS, I really had to take a long look, step back and look at what I was doing in my lifestyle and make some changes so that I could function well and continue doing my training and continue doing all the things I love to do. When I was diagnosed, I was told by the doctors, by my neurologist, that at the age I am now, I probably would not be able to walk, and I might have trouble talking and communicating. So here I am to say, no, that didn't happen. And it's really been attributed by my doctors and also by myself to changing my lifestyle and taking some proactive steps to help my health span rather than thinking about just living in the here and now. So when we think about health span, we think about we want to have good health, and if we have good health, that's going to give us a good life. So let's talk about the foundations of health span. So there's four foundations of a health span, and that's where we individually have meaning and autonomy. We participate in activities that will improve our functional strength and our mobility. We work on brain health, and that could be through exercise or through, and also through nutrition, not or through nutrition, but also through nutrition, and then engaging in healthy lifestyle habits. So today we've got some videos I've put together for you that are going to address some different types of exercises and ways to approach exercise that will help with mobility and functional strength, and also will help with cognitive and proprioception, help with your neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to be flexible. So as I'm going through the presentation, I want you to think about your clients. Maybe you have younger clients, you have older clients, but a lot of times we don't start addressing the deficits that can start occurring due to the natural aging process, and they can start occurring as early as the age of 30. But a lot of times we don't start addressing them until our clients are already in their 50s, and by then we're trying to play catch up. So if we go ahead and start addressing these different levels of foundations of the health span in with our clients when they're young, then we will help them live a healthy life with high quality throughout their entire life. So what is meaning and autonomy? When we think about our clients, when I look at my clients, I look at what they enjoy doing, what they like to do, what their goals are. Do they want to be able to kayak? Do they want to be able to bike? Do they want to be able to go on a hiking vacation? Do they like to golf, play tennis, pickleball? Do they like to do water sports? That sort of thing, or gardening, just different hobbies that they like to participate in, or that they and their spouse enjoy, or they and their friends enjoy. So that is one thing that I look at when I'm looking at putting together programming for my clients. And then we don't have enough time to go into a lot about functional strength and mobility. So I would encourage you to go back to these webinars, past webinars that are available on the PFP website. The Active Aging Future of Fitness, it goes through functional training and progressions. And then the Move Better, Live Better, it talks about mobility and flexibility for life. So I would encourage you to go back to the PFP website and review those different webinars. And then, brain training is going to be I really feel like that's one of the really key components to helping our clients have a long health span, to stay young and keep a high quality of life throughout their whole life. And the Fit Tour Primary Active Aging and Advanced Active Aging course has a lot of information about how to do neuroplasticity drills. And then also my cohort with Fit Tour, Carol Ann, she has a webinar that's available on the PFP website, Move Your Mind, the Exercise Mental Health Connection. So I encourage you, if you'd like to learn more about how to do brain training and how the mind is connected, how physical activity can help improve cognitive function, then I would encourage you to go watch that webinar. When we talk about health span, lifestyle factors are going to be instrumental in helping to improve your client's health span and also your health span. Some of these factors are going to be moving daily, having healthy nutritional habits. I know for me, when I started on a brain healthy diet, that was the turning point for me with MS. I lived with MS for about a year, and I really struggled with a lot of my lesions are connected are in my brain, in the area of my brain that controls my mobility, also my cognitive ability, my executive function, and my speech. And so you might notice sometimes when you're in webinars with me, you might notice today that sometimes I have a hard time getting a word out, or finding the right word. I'll have the word in my mind, but it won't come out of my mouth. The brain nutrition that I follow has really helped me to be able to offset that. And even though I still have deficits, my deficits are not severe. Another thing, lifestyle factor, is having healthy relationships. That's very important. Now, we're not going to cover relationships today because we just don't have enough time, but our active aging course does talk about how to nurture relationships and how to help your clients with that, with improving their relationships and having healthy relationships. And then the next lifestyle factor is high quality sleep. So getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep every day. And then prayer, meditation, and or study. So that's going to help to have a high quality of life rather than just looking at a screen, actually taking the time to read something, taking the time to meditate throughout the day, or studying and learning something new. And then organization, having an organized space is also going to help to improve quality of life. So I know for me personally, after I was diagnosed with MS, I started, our house is very minimalistic and doesn't have a lot of clutter in it. And we keep, like, it's a joke with all my friends that my kitchen counters do not have any appliances or anything on them. They're free of clutter, because that just helps me keep my stress lowered, so that my MS is not triggered by that. When we talk about daily movement, we want to get cardio training 5 to 7 days a week, 45 to 90 minutes of steady state, 3 to 4 days a week, and then hit interval training 2 to 3 days a week. And then also, in addition to hit, you could do MIT training, MIIT, and that is covered in that webinar I talked about earlier, interval training for active agers. So that's mid-intensity interval training, which is what I participate in, because if I do hit training, then it ruins the rest of the day for me, because I get too hot, and my central nervous system gets overheated. And so, you might have clients that don't need to do high intensity interval because of orthopedic stress or maybe neurological issues. And then you're going to encourage your clients to work on functional mobility 2 to 6 days a week, and then functional strength 2 to 5 days a week. But this is all covered in the Fit Tour and the PFP webinar of interval training for active agers that you can find on the PFP website. So when you're doing your workouts with your clients, you want to incorporate neuroplasticity drills during their workouts. So I've got some videos later on in the presentation that will give you some ideas of how to do that. And then healthy nutritional habits. Here's another webinar that FitTour did with PFP, and it's available on the PFP website as well, Nutrition for Life, and that's with Carol Ann. So I would encourage you to go back and watch all those videos, and it's great that PFP has all those videos available for you on demand. Let's go on to the meat of the webinar. So we're going to talk about what can we do with our programming to help improve our clients' proprioception, their balance, their neuroplasticity, their ability of their brain to be flexible. The first thing we want to look at is closed skilled activities versus open skilled activities. Now, closed skilled activities, they occur in like a controlled environment, and it's a stable environment. For example, weight machines, spinning, indoor cycling, and just standing and doing, say, free weights. And then open skill activities, they're going to be dynamic activities that are in an unpredictable environment that is going to require constant adaptation. So as you watch the videos that I prepared for you, I want you to keep that in mind of, what are different ways that I can create open skill activities for my clients so that I help them to improve their balance and, like I said, proprioception and their neuroplasticity. So how do we create open skilled activities? So we can do that by changing our body positioning. And so we can also use stability equipment. So the examples that you're going to see me demonstrate in the videos are going to include using stability ball and BOSUs on creating open skill activities with activities that are often seen as closed skill activities. So here we go. The first video we're going to look at is going to work on vestibular balance. So vestibular balance, that is where we use our eyes and our head, like where our head is in space, to work on balance using our eyes and also moving our head side to side. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this video started for you. So this is a drill that is going to work on balance and also proprioception, as well as neuroplasticity, really having to work your brain as you go through the exercise. So you're just going to stand on the BOSU, and I'm going to stand from the side so you can see me from the side. So I'm going to have my client stand on the BOSU, and then I'm going to ask them to do 10 squats. So 10 squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to do one more. Okay, so then I'm going to have them step forward with their right leg and hold, and then turn their face right, left, right, left, and then I'm going to have them come back up to the BOSU and try to have their feet even when they land. So mine were off a little bit. I want to have your toes lined up when you step back, and then do 10 more squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, and then step forward with the left foot, and then turn the face left, right, left, right, and then step back up with the left foot and try to make sure the feet are lined up. So I have a really hard time with doing that, lining those feet up. Now, another thing that you could do is after they do their 10 squats, just to add in a level of difficulty, when they step forward with the right foot, you could have them close their eyes for a count of 4, 2, 3, 4, then open their eyes and then turn their head side to side for 4, and then step back up. And then again, they could do 10 squats. And we're going to pretend I did 10 squats, and then step forward with the left foot, close their eyes for a count of 4, 2, 3, 4, open the eyes, and then turn their face side to side, and then step back up. Okay, so I have a difficult time with my balance. My MS just kind of tends to have balance deficits. So for someone like me, you might want to have them close to a bar or have a chair beside them so that they could grab the bar for balance and help with their balance. If you were using a bar to help them when they step forward, you would have them, when they step forward with their right foot, you would have their right hand on the bar and then step forward and turn the face and then come back up. And then for safety and also to be balanced, you would have them turn around and then repeat it on the other side with and the left hand on the bar and turn their face left, right, and then come back up. So that is an example of an exercise that you could do using the BOSU and working on balance and proprioception, their ability to know where their body is in space, their ability to bring their feet back up underneath their hips, just naturally. So now we're going to take that same exercise, but we're going to add some dumbbells with it. So we're going to carry the dumbbells, and I'm going to stand on the BOSU and do my 10 squats. So I'm not going to do 10 squats for just the essence of time, but you could have your clients do 10 squats and then step forward with the right foot, turn the face right, left, step back up with that foot, get balance. So you can see where the added weight kind of pulled me off balance a little bit. Do 10 squats again. I'm just going to do 4 for the essence of time. And then I'm gonna step forward with the left foot and turn my face left, right, and then step back up onto the Bosu. And I like to get my clients to, you see where I didn't step back with my feet even. So I like to get my clients to try to get their feet even before they look down and see if their feet are even, okay? Then you can do the same thing where you step forward, close the eyes, and then you could add in bicep curls with those eyes closed. And you might be able to see me wobbling a little bit with my eyes closed. So we'll just pretend I did 10 bicep curls and then step back up onto the Bosu and then step forward with the left foot, close the eyes and do the bicep curls. And so I don't know if you can see me kind of drifting side to side, but closing my eyes takes out that element of vision that helps me with my balance, and then step back up and then look at their feet and make sure they're even. So those are just some things that you can do to work on their balance. Now, of course, you don't want to progress too quickly. You want to progress slowly when you are working on balance. And the Fit Toward Active Aging course does teach you those progressions to go through, where when it's safe to take out the vision, when it's safe to turn the head side to side, when it's safe to go up onto a unstable surface like a Bosu. So you would always want to start with, say, if you were going to do an elevated surface, you would want to start with a step before you went to a Bosu, okay? So those are just some tips and exercises that you can do using the Bosu for balance and to help with their proprioception, help with their foot placement, making sure that their feet land directly underneath their hips, also making sure that they keep their back up nice and tall and they're extending from the hip flexors rather than hinging forward constantly. So those are some exercises that you could do to improve your client's balance and also their proprioception. Okay, so now we're going to go on to some vestibular. Let me go to the next slide. Sorry. So now I'm going to show you some directional changes that are going to help improve agility and processing speed. So now we're going to use the Bosu to work on some directional changes and agility, and also use their brain. They're having to think about where they're going to go and how they're going to get there and how they're going to get back to where they started from. So we're going to start behind the Bosu, and you could use a step. You wouldn't have to use a Bosu, or you could even use lines on the floor or an agility ladder. You could do a lot of be creative and come up with a lot of different drills that you could do that would have your clients moving in different directions, and also command that they memorize the movement patterns and that they stick with the movement patterns. So the first movement pattern we're going to do is step up and over the Bosu and then step back and over. So I'm going with my right foot. So this is my right side here, and I'm just leading with the right foot over and back. And I'm just going to do that 4 times each way. So I'm going to do it one more time. Now I'm going to keep the right foot leading, and I'm going to go over the Bosu here. And then I want to keep the right foot leading, so I have to turn and go over the Bosu. So then turn, over, and keeping that right foot lead, over. And I'm going to do that one more time. Then I'm going to switch to the left foot lead, left foot up and over, back, left foot up and over, and back. And I'm going to do 2 more of those, and back. And I'm going to do 1 more. And then I'm going to go over side lateral movement with my left foot lead. So I have to change the way I'm facing every time. So that's 4. Okay. So then we could layer that together. We could go right foot up and over, and then right foot lead lateral, left foot up and over, left foot lead lateral. So that would look like this: right foot up and over and back, right foot lateral, left foot lead up and over and back, left foot lateral and left foot lateral. So then you've got them moving in a lot of different directions, and they're having to change directions. And then they're also having to think about which foot is leading because they're doing alternating leads. Then you could layer it another way and make it a little bit more challenging. So we're going to go right foot forward and back, left foot lateral and back, left foot forward and back, right leg lateral and back. So this is what that's going to look like. Right foot over and back, and then left foot lateral, left foot lateral, left foot forward and back, right foot lateral, right foot lateral. Okay, so those are just they're pretty simple ways that you could change directions. They're having to navigate an object. It could be a step, or like I said, you could do it with agility ladders. You could do it with a lot of different equipment. It wouldn't have to just be with the BOSU. Then another thing that you could do layer is a numbers game where they're going to go up and over with the right foot lead, forward, right foot and back, lead 3 times. And then they're going to do right foot lead lateral, right foot lead lateral 1 time. Okay. And then left foot up and over 3 times. And then left foot lateral back 1 time. So I always make sure that I let my clients know that when I say I want them to go 3 times, it's 6 total forward and back. So forward, back, and then lateral. Because some people, you need to be super clear with that, where they might just go over and back, over, and then do their lateral. Okay, so this is what that is going to look like. We're going to go over with my right foot lead, 1 and 2 and 3, and then over and back, and then left foot lead up and back and up and back, and one more time, and then left foot lateral and left foot lateral. So then if you wanted to layer over that and make it a little bit more challenging, you could do the same pattern, right foot lead forward and back, but change the lateral to the left foot lead, and then left foot forward and left back, and change the lateral to the right foot lead. So that would look like this: right foot, and then left foot lateral, and then left foot lead. And then right foot lateral. So those are just some directional drills that you can do with your clients to create some interest. And also they have to think, especially when you start doing more intricate layering of the exercises. Now, of course, you could hold dumbbells, they could hold a medicine ball, they could do lots of things while they're going up and over with their upper body. Just be creative and, choose whatever exercises you want to do. Just always make sure that you're being safe with them. Okay, so we'll move on to the next exercises. And so this is going to be an exercise that is going to work on your client's ankle flexibility. So the ability to flex their ankles and also extend the ankles. Because we all know we see older people
And sometimes even younger people walking through the grocery store, and I always say they look like they're walking on a set of blocks because their ankles don't bend and extend. And I know that a lot of times we think, well, our clients aren't old, so we don't need to worry about that. But if you start working on it when they're younger, then they won't have any issues with it. And it's very important for like standing up out of a chair to be able to flex those ankles and get up. And a lot of times that might impede people from being able to get up out of a chair, especially as they get older, because they're not able to flex their ankles. So this is using a BOSU. Now, when you first begin doing this exercise, you really want to have a bar for your clients to hold on to. I have clients that some of them face the bar and do the exercises so that they can hold on to the bar in case they lose their balance. I have other clients that don't need to do that. And I'm going to demonstrate this looking towards the camera. So I'm not going to hold on to the bar, but my balance is not really good. I've told you that. So I might be a little wobbly, but the first thing to do is get on the BOSU safely. So you just want to take one side down and then stand on the other side. You want to make sure that your feet are even on the BOSU so that you're in alignment. Then the first thing that you're going to have them do is just try to balance with the BOSU horizontal to the floor. So the black platform is horizontal. Then we could start walking. I call this walking. And this is really good. It works on your ankles, but it also works on our QL muscles. That's our muscles that help us hike our hip and also bend over from the side. So this is really good for working that. And it also works on our glute muscles. And then we want to try to make sure that we're up nice and tall with our hip flexors extended. So we're engaging our glute muscles. So this is walking. Then the next thing that you could do is have them push their toes forward and push their heels back. So they're rocking forward and back. And I tell my clients to try to get the black edge of the BOSU down to the floor both ways. And the thing is that going forward is not so challenging, but going back can be very challenging for people. And then they can tend to start flexing from their hips and pushing their butt back, but try to make sure that they stay up nice and tall so they get that ankle flexion. So let them know the object is not so much getting the black edge all the way to the floor, that it's just rocking forward and back and keeping the hips extended as you do that. Because a lot of people, just the way they're designed, they might not ever be able to get the black edge of the BOSU down into the ground. It just depends on the way their body is designed, the length of their muscles, the length of their tendons. It's a lot of things involved. Then the next thing you could do is have them squat down and up and try to keep the BOSU horizontal with the floor as they squat down and up. This helps with center of gravity. And it also helps them not do a forward fall squat where they're hinging from the hips, because you can see I'm hinging from the hips and it's very challenging for me to keep that BOSU horizontal. So just squat down and up, down and up. Then they could squat down and then they could walk as they're squatting. And you can see how my ankles, when I go to one side, this ankle kind of turns up, my foot kind of turns up, and this foot turns in a little bit. And then as I go to the other side, the opposite thing happens. And then stand all the way up. Now, this is a very advanced exercise. So I would not start this exercise with clients who had not mastered balancing on the BOSU without holding on to something. I would reserve it until they were able to do that. But for your younger clients, your teenagers, your 20 to 50 somethings, they're going to love it. It's a great thing for you to include in your interval training and your circuit training, because it's a lot of fun and it's challenging. And, it really, really works on that proprioception, and which is awesome but it also works on the ankle flexion and extension, which is very important for us to keep that going so that we can ambulate and move through the world for our entire lives. So then, once they really achieve that, then you could add in some of the balance activities, using our eyes and turning our head. So we could just balance with the BOSU horizontal and then turn the face side to side. And then come to center, and then we could close our eyes and balance. And you might see me drifting from side to side with my eyes closed. So you can see that my right side tends to, I push down on it a lot and then release. Another thing that we could do is do a circle. So circle the hips, I call it hula hoop. And then circle the other way. So this one is very challenging for me. I have spatial awareness deficits due to my MS, and I also have a balance deficit. So this is a really good one to do. And then to make it more challenging, of course, you could close your eyes as they do that, especially for your younger clients, because your younger clients might not have the same kind of balance deficit that older clients are going to have, or somebody like me who's older and has a neurological issue. So you can make that as fun as you want to. You can make it as challenging as you need to. You could do squats here. So there's lots of different things you could do on the BOSU. But again, this is a very advanced balance exercise. So you wouldn't want to just pull the BOSUs out with a group who had not been working on the BOSUs and flip them upside down. You would want to wait until your clients had achieved being on the BOSU with the top side up and make sure that they have good balance on the BOSU with that top side up before you flip it over.
So the Fit Tour Active Aging course does go over the progressions for working on balance activities, vestibular balance drills. Also the Fit Tour core and functional course also does teach you those progressions of how to work on the BOSU. So let's go on to the next demonstration. This is going to take us into the weight room and show you how to use the stability ball and BOSU to create open chain activities in the weight room. So this is going to be bilateral pull downs with both knees kneeling on the floor, and it's going to be the least challenging of this lat pull down series. So you're going to kneel on the floor, and I'm using the bilateral pull downs instead of just a single lat pull down. It was more accessible. Also, doing the bilateral is going to create more balance in the body. And so if your client needed cushion for their knees, you could have more of a mat underneath them. Then we've got unilateral pull downs, and this is going to be a single knee kneeling on the floor and just doing a unilateral pull down. This is more challenging than the bilateral because you only have one knee on the floor. So it's your body's having to balance and your core muscles are having to work really hard to keep you balanced. Now we're going to do bilateral lat pull downs sitting on the stability ball, and this is going to be the least challenging. This is going to be an open chain exercise, even though we are sitting because we are on the stability ball and there's only air between me and the floor. So this is more of an open chain exercise than sitting at the lat pull down station. And then the kneeling unilateral lat pull down with a lunge, it's not really a kneel, but it's a lunge using the stability ball. This is going to be more challenging than the kneeling on the floor with one knee up and one knee down. And this is also, you're having to work your core muscles to the max, as well as really working on your balance with that exercise. Then the next one we're going to go to is going to be kneeling on the Bosu, and this is going to be the most challenging. Less challenging would be to keep the feet, the toes on the floor, but I'm demonstrating the most challenging. And this is going to work the back of the body to the max because I'm having to work my hamstrings and my glutes as I do this exercise. Is working on my core muscles because they're helping me stay up strong and keep my posture up. Then we have the unilateral lat pull downs. That's where one knee is going to be kneeling on the Bosu, and we are going to pull. Now I'm keeping that back foot on the floor, but to make it more challenging, you could lift the back foot up as you kneel on the Bosu. This one is you're having to work your core muscles to keep that balance. And so those are some variations of the lat pull downs. Okay, so this is going to be bilateral pull downs with both knees. So now I'm going to demonstrate chest, how to work the chest from closed chain to open chain, the least challenging to the most challenging. So let me. So this is going to be a chest press with feet on the floor, and it's going to be least challenging, and it is a closed chain exercise. So you just have your clients on the floor and they'll do a chest press with a bridge, or sometimes we call that a hip thrust. And then we're going to go to a little bit more challenging with the feet on the Bosu, and the Bosu is going to make it more of an open chain exercise because the feet are not on the solid surface. They're on a stability piece of stability equipment. So there's only air between my feet and the floor. So you can see that I'm having to stabilize my pelvis a little bit more with that. And then the most challenging is going to be with the feet on the ball. And this is going to be open chain also because my feet are not on a stable surface. They are on that stability ball, and there's only air between my feet and the floor. So okay, so this is going to demonstrate basic planking, and plank variations is what it's going to demonstrate. So this is going to be planking variations. We're going to start with basic planking with the arms extended, toes are on the floor, and you just have a nice long spine, reaching out through the crown of the head. The hips are in line with the shoulders. And then basic planking with single leg hip extension, that's going to be more challenging. So I'm just going to lift one leg and hold it. And then you'll just switch sides and hold. And then we're going to go to forearm planking, and this is going to be more challenging. The forearm plank is more challenging because you're closer to the floor and you're having to use more of your core muscles when you have those forearms bent. So you have that shoulder lever. And so you're having to stabilize more with the core muscles. And then the forearm planking with the single leg hip extension is going to be more challenging. And then we're going to do drop planks. So we're going to start with knees on the floor, and this is going to be less challenging. So this is just the forearms on the floor and lifting the body all the way up and down off of the floor with those knees on the floor. It's going to be less challenging. And then to make it more challenging, we lift both knees off the floor. So both knees are up off the floor. And you can tell that I'm having to use a lot of muscles to perform this exercise all of the core muscles are having to work, my chest muscles, my arm muscles, my glutes, my thighs, everything is having to work. It's a full body exercise. So those planks were all closed chains, but planking there have been research that shows that planking is very important to helping decrease, you just help people be able to use a full body exercise and keep people mobile. So that's just one of the functional training exercises. So then the last exercise we're going to demonstrate is dead bugs. And these are a great alternative. Dead bugs are a great alternative to working the abs without cervical spinal flexion. So we're going to start with alternating toe drops. And this is going to be the least challenging of the dead bugs. So you'll just have both legs up and you'll just alternate dropping one toe at a time. And then the next is going to be alternating arm drops. So this is going to be least challenging also, but it's good for you to teach your clients how to do each of the movements. So you're segmenting the upper and the lower body so they learn those movement patterns before they try to combine the movements together. So more challenging would be opposite arm, opposite toe drops. And this one requires, it helps with neuroplasticity because you're working both sides of the body simultaneously. So you're alternate working your lower body and your opposite side of your upper body. And so they're having to think about what's going on. Now, the most challenging is going to be staggered opposite arm, opposite toe drops. And you will notice probably as I do this that there's a little bit of a lapse as I'm going through this. It's not super fluid because I just have like a little bit of a synapse, lapse in my synapse of the signals going from my brain through the spinal cord out to my neuromuscular system. So you can see maybe that this is requiring me a little bit more concentration to perform that. Okay, so I said that was our last exercise, but we have one more set of exercises. Well, I guess they're not in there. Let's see. Well, you can go to the YouTube to see the other exercises, but just to remind you of the PFP Fit Tour past webinars. The Fit Tour, Active Aging, Future of Fitness, Interval Training for Active Agers, Move Better, Live Better, and then Carol Ann's webinars, the Move Your Mind webinar, and the Nutrition for Life. I highly recommend all of those, especially if you're really going to be passionate about helping to improve your client's health span. All of those webinars contain very wonderful information about how to do that, about how to different ways that you can address health span in your programming, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then the videos in this presentation are available on my YouTube channel, which is Stokes Method, and you can find it at Stokes Method 1234. And then I created a playlist dedicated to the October 29th Fit Tour and PFP webinar. So you can find those videos on the YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. I'm going to turn it back over to Josh.
All right. Thank you, Dolly. Looks like we have a couple questions that did come in. Let me just see here. For the demonstrations, are you recommending the speed of the reps demonstrated, or is the speed simply to get through the videos?
Okay. Well, that's a question that my clients ask quite often also. So I tend to move quickly. So no, I would recommend that you have your clients go at their own speed. In fact, I have my I generally do timed segments. I'll put like maybe 2 exercises together for my clients, and then I will have them do those exercises for a specific amount of time, and I will have them keep up with their number of reps. So I'll do like the numbers game that I demonstrated, I think, in traveling over the BOSU, where they have to think about how many reps they're doing. So I will have them count their own reps rather than me count their reps. And I will give them a different number of reps for each exercise so that it's not predictable. It's not like where they're like, oh, I'm going to do 10 reps of this and then 10 reps of the next exercise. I might have them do 7 reps of one exercise and 5 reps of another exercise. So that's just an example. It doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes I have them do 20 reps of exercises. Sometimes I get them to count up to 30. It just depends. But no, I allow my clients to move at their own pace. And then also I have very short legs, so my squats are pretty quick because my legs are short. But that was a good question. No, I do not recommend that you go as quickly as I go. Unless you have clients that can go that quickly, but no, you might want to slow it down.
All right, thank you for that. And then another one we have is more of a, I guess, manufacturer question about the BOSU. Uh, one lady is saying here that a lot of studios do not allow to use the BOSU with the backside up, and that the manufacturer says the BOSU is absolutely not to be used this way. Can you clarify, or do you know what the manufacturer really says about this?
I really don't know what the manufacturer says about it. So that's a good question, a good legal question. I would say, like, I have the benefit of having my own studio, so it's my controlled environment because I work for
Mhm.
myself. But if I was working at another studio and they told me not to have the BOSU upside down, I definitely would not have the BOSU upside down. So I appreciate that question. And so an alternative to that would be using a balance disc, and the inflatable balance disc. I actually have wooden boards that go on top of the balance disc. So you could do the same drills with the balance disc with a wooden board on top of it. But if your studio, tells you not to use the BOSU upside down, I would say don't use the BOSU upside down.
Yes, I think that's a great approach and
Yeah,
a great solution with the balance disc as well. I mean, I'll comment on that. When I ran my own boot camp business, I used it upside down all the time. But again, I own the business and I controlled the situation. So I think there's definitely scenarios there that need to be considered.
absolutely.
Next question is from Susan. How would I navigate this in a group setting? So, like, how would you do this in a group setting?
Okay, so yes, I do these exercises in a group setting, but like I said, with some of your clients when you're doing stability work, where I filmed is my studio, so it's got the bars on the wall. I make sure that the clients that do not need to do balance work without having a bar do not do balance work without a bar, without being close to the wall and doing the bar. I'm very safety oriented. And so, when you're working with a group, oftentimes I'll have 10 of my clients in a group and they will do these exercises all together, but some will be on, next to the bar, some will not be next to the bar. But if someone who I know does not need to do the balance work away from the bar wants to do the balance work away from the bar, I'm pretty strongly tell them that they need to be close to the bar. Now, if I was doing a one-on-one session, then I might be next to them, making sure that they were safe. But in a group setting, but It just depends on your group setting. I don't teach group classes anymore that have 25 to 30 people. This might not be appropriate for a group setting that has 25, a lot of people in it. You might reserve it for your smaller group training if you do have large groups.
Okay, perfect. Think that's all we have then right now. So, yes, I'd like to thank you, Dolly, for a great educational, informative webinar. The video slides were excellent. Well done with that. I know we got comments on that. And then thank you, Fit Tour, for making this webinar happen and for all your years of support. Again, everyone, this webinar was recorded and the on-demand link will be shared with all of you tomorrow morning. We'll be working on getting that email out, like I said, tomorrow morning for sure. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Dolly, and everybody have a great rest of the day.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Thanks, everybody, for being here.